Good morning. Can you all hear me? Good morning. Welcome to the Morristown Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. We are a spiritually alive, justice-centered, and inclusive community, and we are so glad you are here with us, both in the sanctuary and online. My name is Lori Cross, and I'm your Sunday associate this morning. Our seventh principle tells the world that as you use, we have agreed to promote respect for the interdependent web of all existence. That web is clearly in danger. Our dedicated Green Earth Ministry team has created a wonderful service today sharing about this work. I feel so grateful to have been part of the creative process. Though not everyone could be here today, please stand to be acknowledged as I call your name. Linda, Joe, Angie, Ellen, Pat D., Gabor, Alex, Beth, Marjorie, Nick, David, Barbara, Chris, and most of all, our youth, Teddy, Miles, and Denisha. Thank you. For the effort, courage, and creativity each of you contributed to this day. I do have several announcements to share. Our offering today will be split 50-50 between the Morristown UU Fellowship and New Jersey Together. You'll hear more about that shortly. This afternoon at 12:45 after the second service, our Odyssey team will be hosting its 13th presentation, honoring and premiering the film featuring Don Lynch. There will be some light refreshments in the dining room following the second service to help stave off lunchtime hunger if you would like to stay, check out the film, or ask a few questions. This is our service auction weekend. It is our most important fundraiser of the year and a great funraiser and way to get to know people. So today the terrace room will be open from 10:30 to 12:30 so that you can continue to bid on many wonderful experiences. Please vote your conscience this week on or before Tuesday, Election Day. A notice, Barbara S. tested positive for COVID this morning. If you were at the event yesterday evening, please be mindful. A final announcement about today's service. To continue our conversation online about protecting the health of our planet, Gabor Kiss has agreed to construct an e-bulletin board where any of us can post ideas for things we can do in our everyday lives, upcoming events we hear about around our communities, and places such as websites where we can go for more information. And I want to tell you, our own 4th and 5th graders took up this conversation in our class this morning. Please look for more information about this new way to stay in touch about doing our part.
Hello. What is the Green Earth Ministry, or GEM? We are the Fellowship's Environmental Committee. Our UU's seventh principle, As Laurie said, the interconnected web of all existence speaks to us deeply. We experience a feeling of awe from our connection with the natural world, whether enjoying vibrant and colorful autumn leaves, gardening, restoring and protecting wildlife habitat, looking through the lens of a microscope, or gazing up at the stars. Unitarian Universalist leaders, and that includes on the UULA level, are deeply concerned about the climate crisis, and so are we. In fact, all the articles in this latest issue of UU World magazine are completely devoted to confronting the climate crisis. I don't know how many of you get this. Oh, where am I? People are more aware and are talking about it more today than in the past. Citizens are voting for political candidates who value facts and will take action against the effects of climate change. Individual investors, pension funds, university endowments, and other entities are moving their assets out of the fossil fuel industry. We are hopeful that the recently enacted federal government incentives will increase energy conservation and stimulate the further expansion of clean, renewable energy. These changes will decrease air pollution, save lives, and help mitigate the climate crisis. This might be a good time to call your attention to the fact that there's a poster near the terrace room that gives you a sample of what rebates that you could get if you apply for them, and many of us will qualify for some monies out of that recently passed bill. Some of our inspiration and ideas for action come from the Unitarian Universalist Ministry for Earth, affectionately called UMFI, and its Create Climate Justice initiative, which is currently focusing on providing guidance to congregations for climate resilience through disaster response and community care. We also support the work of the Environmental Justice Task Force of UU Faith Action, New Jersey. Our strength lies in the accumulated experiences and knowledge of GEM members and the wider fellowship community. As you'll learn in today's Time for All Ages, you can help the environment and yourself by doing something as simple as planting a tree. We'll hear a thoughtful message about active hope, and we'll sing together. Most especially today, we will hear from 3 of our fellowship's young people who will share their concerns, impressions, experiences, and viewpoints about their futures. Building a livable future will take all of us.
Now's the time for our chalice lighting. I'll try to raise my voice. Let us recite together. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
At the first service, we handed out a lot of pieces of paper with color on them. There were a few left, but I noticed the ones with the rainbow got kept by a bunch of kids. They weren't going to hand them back. So the idea was we'll be singing What a Wonderful World, and when the color comes up, they would wave the color in the air. And of course, there's a rainbow in the song. But there's also a part where people are shaking hands. And so I welcome you to give a little fist bump or elbow nudge to a neighbor when you're talk about shaking hands, and that really means I love you, so there you go. And you, please don't bump into the microphone, and please rise in body or spirit. Thank you.
In the first service, I had the joy of being accompanied by quite a few young people. Anybody in that spirit? Okay. Okay. And I promise you to shorten. I'm not going to show you every page, okay? But I will describe a few here and there. This book is called We Planted a Tree by Diane Muldrow and illustrated by Bob Stockey. We planted a tree. And we planted a tree, and notice this is kind of a city. Got a lot of tall buildings and a small yard. We planted a tree, and it grew up. We planted a tree, and it grew up while it reached for the sky and the sun. The sunshine went into the leaves and brought food to the tree, and the tree grew up. Fat little buds appeared on the branches. The sunshine went into the buds, and soon they burst open. Everywhere it was pink, and we were dizzy with springtime. So I have to ask our listeners, what trees blossom in springtime and go pink? Cherry. Yeah, that's okay. Magnolia, apple blossom white, but with pink tinges. Okay, okay. Any others? Magnolia. What? Dogwood. That's right, I forgot the dogwood. Okay. Wow. So I think we could come up with a nice list here, especially if you've traveled. You probably have seen others. The sun kept shining, the pink blossoms dropped off, but soon there were green leaves, green, shiny leaves, which had food inside for the tree. Green, shiny leaves, which cooled us, which kept the earth cool. I should be sitting with you, right? I'm sorry. We planted a tree, and it grew up and gave us a shady place. The tree's leaves helped cleaned the air, and we breathed better. The tree fed us apples and oranges and lemons. And as one of the children pointed out, on one tree? No, it was so funny, it really was funny. And sap for our syrup. And how many of you have brought your children or yourselves to a sapping, whatever, whatever they do? Yeah. What? Oh, that's right. Mindy is offering that, that experience. We planted a tree and it grew up. The tree kept the soil from blowing away. Now rainwater could stay in the earth. The soil became healthier because the tree was there. So we planted butternut squash and beans, corn, onions, cabbage in the healthy soil, the rich, dark dirt. We could grow our own food, and we ate better. Now, none of the children were growing food in their homes or on their properties. Is anyone here growing food on their properties? Okay, I'm doing herbs because I don't have enough sun for the rest. We planted a tree, and it grew up, and it dropped acorns. It fed the squirrels in winter, and the birds came, and other animals came too to live with the tree. We planted a tree, and that one tree made the world better. We planted a tree, and that one tree helped heal the earth. We planted a tree, and it grew up. And so did we. Amen. Okay. No time.
We have a new Go Now in Peace. And we're not singing children out, but it would be nice if you guys learned a new Go Now in Peace. Ooh, you can stand up this time. I don't normally have you stand up if the kids are walking out, but you can stand up this time. Thank you. Go now in peace. May the world protect you. Go now in peace. Now in peace. May the world protect you. May the world enfold you and keep you in loving arms. Loving arms. Go now in
Our reading for today is from Active Hope by poet and environmental activist Joanna Marcy. Active hope is not wishful thinking. Active hope is not waiting to be rescued by some savior. Active hope is waking up to the beauty of life on whose behalf we can act. We belong to this world. The web of life is calling us forth at this time. We've come a long way and are here to play our part. With active hope, we realize that there are adventures in store, strengths to discover, and comrades to link arms with. Active hope is a readiness to discover the strengths in ourselves and in others, a readiness to discover the reasons for hope and the occasions for love, a readiness to discover the size and strength of our hearts, our quickness of mind, our steadiness of purpose, our own authority, our love for life, the liveliness of our curiosity, the unsuspected deep well of patience and diligence, the keenness of our senses, and our capacity to lead. None of these can be discovered in an armchair or without risk. We've come to the time in the service when we pause to reflect on important events in our lives and in the world. Today marks the beginning of the 27th Conference of Parties of the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. Egypt is hosting world leaders from nearly 200 countries as they make agreements and decisions to tackle the climate crisis. The Unitarian Universalist Association is sending observers to help elevate priorities related to environmental justice. You can find more information online. And we have a milestone brought to our attention by Marjorie Wormser. Last night, our neighboring UU congregation in Paramus, New Jersey, her childhood spiritual home, celebrated its 125th anniversary. It is Marjorie's fervent hope that this fellowship can match that longevity by making sound plans for our future. I'm going to continue now with our meditation for today. I am only one, but I am still one. I cannot do everything, but still, I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do something that I can do. Let us take a moment of silence to honor our love of our earthly home and to honor the strength that we can give and receive from one another here in fellowship to care for our earth and for each other. Our offering this morning will be split 50-50 with New Jersey together, a growing coalition that partners with religious congregations and other nonprofit groups and neighborhood organizations to develop leaders, strengthen communities, and seek justice. You can find more information about donating online or in your order of service. One more announcement about a milestone before we continue to the youth sharing. There will be a memorial service for Judy Oler on Sunday, November 20 at 1 p.m.
Our first reflection is from Teddy Kaplan Franklin. He's a sixth grader at Madison Junior School. He loves soccer, tennis, and swimming, and he's a proud member of the Environmental Club at school and thoroughly enjoyed the Environmental Justice Workshop here at MUF in the fall. He's going to speak about his Baba and his hope for the planet.
My Baba once told me about a time when he could lay down in the grass and look up at the stars, thousands of them shimmering in the dark night sky. When I look up at the sky, I see only the brightest stars or planets whose light can shine through the polluted sky. I also heard a story about a man who loved to go snorkeling when he was little and look at his favorite animal in the reef, the dragon seahorse. When he goes diving now, he can't find them because the coral reefs are dying and our oceans are warming so much. When my brother and I were born, my parents gave us each middle names that are animals. My brother's name is Adler, meaning eagle, and my name is Kaplan, meaning tiger. Both of those animals have come close to extinction. This is because of habitat loss, poaching, and climate change. If there's anything I would like to change about our planet, it would be to fix the mistakes we've made as humans. I would like to not buy gas-guzzling cars and instead choose electric, which cut down drastically the greenhouse effect that warms our oceans and melts our ice caps, and to reduce deforestation by lessening the amount of trees we cut down, and use less plastic, whose production emits toxic chemicals into the atmosphere, and whose products end up in our oceans and forests. I want to see Baba's night sky. I want to see those dragon seahorses, and I want to see the eagles and tigers thriving in their natural habitat.
Our next youth speaker, Miles Gorman. I'm sure many of you have been at a service where where this young person has participated. Miles is a member of the MUF Senior Youth Group. Miles could not be here in person today because Miles is in Guatemala doing aid work. Thank you, Miles.
Hello, my name is Miles. You probably know me. I go to MUF, and I'm a climate LGBTQ+ rights activist. I've been doing climate advocacy since I was 12. When I first learned about it in science class, learned about the true scope of the climate crisis, and I did my just started researching, and I thought somebody must be doing something about this, and it turned out nobody was, at least not our elected officials. So I just grabbed a sign and went to town with just Sharpie on poster board and biked into downtown Morristown. Got cars to honk. Did what I thought I could, and since then, the view that I've gained on the climate crisis is that it's the only, well, at least one of the things I've learned is that it's the only crisis that we face where there's an absolute time limit. Once it runs out, it's done. There's no planet B, we get one shot. And we've tried everything else to stop it. And the only solution that we've found that is effective time and time again is the act of protest. There's a reason that groups like Greenpeace and Sierra Club are so effective. And so my advice for how we can protect our planet and how we can stop the climate crisis is to get angry, get fired up, Call your senator, join a protest, volunteer for candidates that support and are willing to fight for strong climate legislation at the federal level. I personally log hours and hours on the phone bank, on the phones, on the dialer every month, and it is one of the best ways that you can work to put climate candidates into our elected positions. I would argue that, not only is it the best thing that you as a normal citizen can do, but I would argue that it is your civic duty to protect my future, protect your future, and to protect the future of all those who come after we do. Thank you so much.
Joni Mitchell's 1970 anthem for environmental protection, Big Yellow Taxi, was certainly not the first, but probably one of the best known of its kind, and it has evolved. It's even been re-recorded by Adam Duritz of Counting Crows. And Joni Mitchell herself included a new verse in between the third and the last, to whom she credits Bob Dylan. So there may be a couple of surprises, but I hope you will please join in with the chorus. And there's also an embellishment, a shoo up, up, up. So there's opportunities for everyone to participate. Yes. They paved paradise, put up a parking lot with a pink hotel, a boutique, and a swinging hot spot. Don't it always seem to go that we don't know what we've got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Shoo up, 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 up. Shoo up, 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 up. Take the trees, put them in a tree museum. And they charge all the people an arm and a leg just to see 'em. Oh, and don't it seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? You pay paradise, put up a parking lot. Shoo, up, 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 up. Shoo, up, 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 up. Hey, farmer, farmer, put away the DDT now. I'll have spots on my apples, but leave me the birds and the bees. Please. Oh, it always seems to go that we don't know what we've got till it's gone. They pay paradise, put up a parking lot. Ooh, up, 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 up. Ooh, up, 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 up. Yesterday, I heard my screen door slam. A big yellow tractor took down my house and pushed around all my land. Don't it always seem to go that we don't know what we've got till it's gone? They pay paradise, put up a parking lot. Ooh, up, 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 up. Ooh, up, 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 up. Late last night, I heard my screen door slam again. And a big yellow taxi took away my old man. Don't it always seem to go that we don't know what we've got till it's gone? They pay paradise, put up a parking lot. Ooh, up, 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 up. Oh, it don't seem to go that we don't know what we've got till it's gone. They pay paradise, put up a parking lot. Ooh, up, 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 up. They pay paradise, put up a parking lot. They pay paradise, put up a parking lot.
And lastly, and by no means last, we're going to hear from a grown-up member, Nisha Puranaponda. She's the daughter of Hazel Bell and Venkat Puranaponda. And she'll tell you a little bit about how she views our responsibility to protect human rights, and especially environmental justice. Nisha?
Hi. So, I believe it is our responsibility to protect basic human rights, one of those being environmental justice. Environmental justice is based on the principle that all people have the right to be protected from pollution and really have a right to life and live a clean and healthy lifestyle. So this is in line with many of our UU principles, most notably our 7th UU principle, which, as before, has been stated to say that we respect the interdependent web of life of what we are all a part. Environmental justice tends to be a very complex issue. It's kind of hard to box it into one or another. And it's really saying, I believe it's really saying, that we need to make our planet a better place to live for both ourselves and for future generations. The true environmental justice is not just focused on what we can do, what it's good for us, but the earth around us, the physical earth, what we can do to make it better, to make it a better place to live, not just for humans, but for other animals, trees, creatures that live there. And with our current lifestyle, with trying to find the best deal or the cheapest product, well, it may be good for us now, isn't really good in the long run and is very detrimental to the world. We may not bear the burdens of this failure, but other people will, and other people that we don't see yet are already bearing the burdens of our lifestyle. They can be prone to things like life-threatening diseases. Well, we may not have something like that, or we could easily cure it. It may not be for somewhere else in the world, or even somewhere else down the line. Our second principle says that we affirm and promote equity and compassion in human relationships. So individual actions taken by people are one good way to mitigate the root of this big problem. We may not be the main issue, but we can all take a stand to try and mitigate it or do the best we can to lessen our impact. Things like how much pollution do we unintentionally make on a day-to-day basis that we don't really seem to think of. So the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, big agency, they have taken some steps to integrate environmental justice into new laws and reform regulations on people, countries, and companies, but it's not always enough. They have created a new office, well, newish, kind of, the Office of Environmental Justice and External Civil Rights. This is a step in the right direction to getting the highest level of our government, our US government, to take steps to hold people and companies accountable for saying that they will do what they say they will, saying that they're gonna make changes to make the world a better place, making sure companies are saying they're doing something when they're really not. There is only one Earth. We're living on it now. We have to take care of it. We always have to live here. We live here ourselves, and if we don't take care of it, it'll kind of crumble. So on the idea that we can make our own changes, there are some personal changes that I've made, like going vegan, to try to make this a better place. Factory farming is not always the best, but so is monocropping. You can't just say you're doing something and say, oh, well, I'm going vegan, I'm a great person. It's not just that, you can't say that. I've been more mindful of the ways that I use things. I keep old pasta jars and use them for storage later. Other glass or even some plastic containers can be reused and washed for holding other things. Even my textbooks for college, I got most of them online to reduce the amount of paper that I use. So taking individual actions like this to try to save off the damage that has already been done is another way we can change ourselves and your community to make this world a better place.
Body or spirit, and sing a hymn with the perfect title, Fire of Commitment.
The Green Earth Ministry thanks you for allowing us to share with you a variety of perspectives on environmental justice today. They will be available during the coffee hour if you want to learn more, okay? Just Green Earth Ministry people, just raise a hand in case anybody does not know yet who you are. There they are. Great. As you head out into the world today, we will close with a brief but poignant quote from none other than Gloria Steinem. Never mind what's happening at the top. Change grows from the bottom up like a tree. Thank you.